Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me if you're new here. My name is Gregory Mack, and this is our Honda Goldwing Rescue. This is the 1983 GL 1100 Aspencade project. If you are new here, I would suggest that you watch the previous videos to see what we've been up to. One thing that I like to do when I'm confronted with a very dilapidated project to stay motivated is I try to do a lot of research on the project itself. You know, when this thing was first introduced, why was it special? What made it special? And focus on those things that it gives you a little something to grab onto and get excited about, so that you can keep the vision going and use your imagination, that you might get to experience that feature of the bike, hopefully. But what I'm going to just do briefly is go over some facts that I pulled off the internet about the 83 Goldwing. It could produce 81 horsepower at 7,000 RPM. So that's pretty good. A lot of people will just say, well, horsepower doesn't matter, it's only for racing, and maybe they're right, but the fact that it can do that is something to think about. 65 foot-pounds of torque at 5,500 RPM at a 5-speed transmission, shaft drive. This one has this air suspension, and that's a new feature to me, and I thought that was really, really cool. The weight, 683 pounds dry, 31.3 inch seat height. Seems to be about a normal seat height for most bikes. It kind of are around that. And this Aspencade came with a AM/FM CB radio cassette stereo system. And I think that was pretty cool. It actually had like a CB radio. I don't know if anybody uses those anymore. Now, there was one other feature I thought was pretty cool. It has a kind of a unique braking. The front brakes, I noticed on the inside of the front rotors. Let's make a little shot up here. Maybe hopefully you can see that. They're vented in between and on both sides. I thought that was really cool. So it's an internally ventilated front brake disc. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that is really interesting, you know. And also in 1983, there was a combined braking system with this bike, so that if the back brake pedal was engaged, both the front and rear brakes would work. There's something there that actually, when you use the rear brake, you're not just using the rear brake. It supposedly activates the front brakes as well. So the braking on that must be really smooth when you're braking. I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. Kind of takes away a person having to think much about the front brake and overdoing it on the front brake. So maybe that would appeal to people that were scared to use their front brake. I've really never been. I like using the front brake predominantly because I understand the stopping power of the front brake on a motorcycle, and I use it appropriately. But for somebody who didn't, wasn't comfortable with that, like that would be a real cool feature to have. Okay. And also on this, what I noticed is it has this track anti-dive forks. And I pulled up some notes that said there was an integrated brace on the front and rear suspension that could function even with no air pressure. Don't really know fully what that means, but apparently if you had no air pressure, your suspension would still be okay. Like you could still ride. But that traction anti-dive control, and I pulled up a little information on that. The track anti-dive control, it's a mechanical system designed to reduce fork dive during braking on motorcycles, using a pivoting brake caliper that interacts with a valve to increase damping force as the brakes are applied harder. This helps to maintain a more stable and controlled front end during braking maneuvers. So the brake caliper is mounted on a pivot, allowing it to rotate slightly when braking. As it rotates, it pushes against a valve that restricts the flow of damping fluid within the fork. This restriction increases the damping force, effectively resisting the fork's compression and reducing dive. It is a purely mechanical system. So there's nothing electronic about that torque reactive anti-dive control. It just is simply some pivoting thing there on the front brake calipers that is going to restrict the flow of the dampening fluid. I'm gonna really, when we get this thing running and take it and we test those things out, I'm gonna make future videos on that and how that works and how it feels. I'm really looking forward to that because I've never had a bike that had that on there. Maybe you have, and maybe if anybody wants to leave a comment in the comment section, that's always tremendously appreciated with your experience with that, and how did you find it useful, dangerous, what do you think? Now, it seems that was the notes say that feature was introduced in the 70s and it was on various models through the 80s. It was basically an early attempt to improve motorcycle handling during braking. I think those things are exciting. Things like that. The combined braking system there. That traction anti-dive control, that's really cool. The fact that the air suspension will still has something built in there, some sort of brace, or even if it loses all the air pressure, you're going to be all right. The CB AM/FM radio setup. Seems like those were some of the key features that I could look up on this bike that can if we can focus on those things and think about those things, it really helps moving forward because you get excited. Because when you look at a bike like this that's in this type of condition, the visual thing here can be such a demotivator. It can be such a demotivating aspect when you look at something like that. But if you can focus and grab onto something that gets you excited about moving forward with it, that's what we're doing here. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's a beautiful day. I am going to get into tearing that, removing the radiator and other stuff I got to get to so that engine can come out of that bike. And I'm going to leave this video here. It's 10 minutes in. Thank you all so much for joining me. And I'll get with you on the next one real soon. Bye now.